Do you want to get high? That's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about getting high. Oh yeah. I felt like a good rebound episode after the last one, talking about suffering. Let's take it to its polar opposite and let's talk about getting high, right? Having fun, feeling good, experiencing pleasure. Thank you guys for listening and watching Wine and Wisdom. I'm your host, the Matt Kane. Yes, I put the before it. I'm egotistical, I suppose, even though this podcast is about me removing my ego, but I still have one. So anyways, what we do in this show is we talk about wisdom. We talk about life while drinking wine, and I'll get to that here in a second. But this is another solo edition. I got some great guests coming up, but I wanted to bang out another solo edition and give you guys some great nuggets, some pearls, some gems of wisdom. So I felt like the topic of getting high was one that we need to talk about, don't we? Yeah, let's do it. So please leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to this to. Subscribe, leave us a like, a rating. That would be wonderful. But all I really give a shit about is that you guys listen, all right? Maybe tell a friend or two. If you find what you consumed in this program, if you find it beneficial, then, you know, go ahead and spread the word, if you don't mind. But thank you guys for listening. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, I love this shit because I love learning and I love helping people. And I felt like this is what this is all about, right? So if you feel like you got some good shit, some good knowledge from this, go ahead and just tell a friend or 20. It's all good. Anyways, yeah, let's get into it, shall we? On Wine and Wisdom. So again, the first part of the show is wine. So you guys are going to be excited because guess what? Your boy has a new bottle of wine. Now, listen. I must be going up in the world because no longer am I messing around with $5 and $6 bottles of wine. No, my friends. We're going for a $10 bottle of wine. That's right. And you might have been hearing that. Somebody is rocking a crotch rocket going up and down my street. How dare they interrupt these pearls of wisdom. Anyways, so if you hear that, guys, that's what it is. That. But anyways, yeah, Dark Horse Cabernet. Here it is. I've had Dark Horse before. I've enjoyed it, but it's been a minute. So let's talk about Dark Horse. Dark Horse is a noun. Look at this. For the unexpected winner. Just like all of us, right? We all are our own dark horses in life. For us, winning means bringing you exceptionally crafted and well-balanced wine that over-delivers on your expectations. Just like this podcast. We do this by working side by side with 400 of California's finest grape growers to earn the first pick of their harvest. And we taste our wine over 100 times before you pour your first glass. Talk about getting high 100 times. How would you like to have that job? Man, wow. The result? A bold Cabernet with notes of plum, a hint of oak, and a smooth finish. The result? I already said that. All right, and that is from Beth Liston. Cheers. Check them out, darkhorsewine.com. There it is. Modesto, California. Wonderful. Dark Horse. Bold. Complex. Oak. 2019. Here it is. All right. Smells wonderful. You know, your boy likes his reds. I think I've only had red wine on this show because, not gonna lie, I'm not that big a fan of white wine. Every now and again, a white is okay, but I like red. I don't know. It just tastes better to me. I don't know. Does it have more health benefits? I believe, right? More flavonoids and shit like that. So, anyways, let's get a pour here. Do the old ASMR trick. Okay, that's enough. We're going lightweight tonight. Again, it's a work night, so got to work for the man in the morning. All right, let's get it rolling here. Let's get a little bit of tasties. Yeah, definitely like that. I definitely like that. All right. So let's talk about getting high. Oh man, isn't that fun? Well, here's what's interesting. So again, the polar opposites of what we had. We had suffering last episode. So on the flip side, we have getting high, right? Getting high. And now let's clarify this at the outset. When I speak of getting high, I don't want to use the narrowly defined term of somebody smoking like cannabis or just doing drugs. Let's define high. So, really the term high or ecstasy or bliss, right? You could apply that to anything. You're taking a trip, right? And it's the resulting feelings that occur, whether it's a brain chemistry level, a euphoria, a high that you get from that trip, from that experience, right? That's what I'm going to be referring to here, okay, at the outset. Let's make that clear. It could apply to anything that gets you high, and we'll define that a little bit. So, getting high, we're all experts at it, aren't we? Right? At a very base level, all we want to do is seek pleasure. We want to feel good, right? We want to we want to thicken the experience of getting high, of that experience, right? We want to prolong it, meaning when I experience something pleasurable, I want to keep that thing going as long, ad infinitum, right? As long as possible as I can stand. And I want to reduce the time, the intervals between the rushes, right? I think I've used this analogy on previous podcasts, like, well, what's good? Dinner. How about dessert? How about, let's go see a movie? How about popcorn? How about, how about a hot tub? How about sex? And how can you just keep elongating and thickening that experience, right? That's what we all want to do. We all want to feel good. So, I guess, what is your high, right? What gets you high, right? You can and think about in your life the times where you felt most alive, right? And we'll define what the high experience is here in a second, but I want you to really take some time to think about, what is it that makes me feel right? That feeling. Right? What is it for you? For people, it could be drugs, alcohol, could be motorcycle, could be music, could be art, could be film, could be, like I said, sex. It could be so many different things that makes you feel that unitive, that wholesomeness, that fulfillment, right? So what is your trip? I mean, for me, because we get to the truth here on Wine and Wisdom, right? I don't bullshit. I don't fuck around. And anybody that knows me in real life, they know I'm pretty much a straight shooter, right? I pretty much sling from the hip. And I'm kind of blunt and bold. So yeah, full disclosure, for me, the things that really get me high, I have a few different ones, but the ones that I really enjoy, I love working out, right? That's something that I've always enjoyed. My dad, who was on the podcast, go back in the archives and check out that episode with Tom Kane. He would mention that I was 2 years old, at 2 or 3 maybe, and my dad would be on the ground doing push-ups, and I would come up next to him and just start doing push-ups, right? So it's always been ingrained in me. I'm very much a physical person by nature, hence, vocationally why I'm a martial arts instructor. I do that for a living, and I also do, stunts and fight choreography for film as a side gig as well. All that's very physical, right? So being present inside my body with working out, with hitting weights. I've always had a strong desire to want to improve myself and learn more about the human anatomy. It's one of the reasons I one of the reasons I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science, kinesiology, was because I just love learning about human movement. Really intrigued me, really interested me. So yeah, working out, fitness in general gets me a high. After I'm done working out, pumping iron, man, it is a high. And I don't know if it's quite to the extreme of what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. This is what he said. He was interviewed in the documentary Pumping Iron about getting high when he's working out, why he enjoys it so much. And he goes, and pardon my cheap attempt at an Arnold accent, but he would say, you know, when you work out and you get the pump, man, this is a really bad accent. When you get the pump, when I get the pump, it feels so good. It feels like I am having sex and I am coming. So after I work out and I get the pump, that's how I feel. Do you understand? So after every workout, it is like I'm coming. Can you imagine how I feel all day? So you know, obviously he equates that with a very euphoric, blissful experience. So to him, he was getting high, and I can understand it. Now, maybe not to that extreme, Arnie, but yeah, I've always enjoyed working out, always enjoyed being physical. Same thing with martial arts. I enjoy martial arts. It's just ever since I was a kid, and I saw my first Bruce Lee video, Jean-Claude Van Damme video, I was hooked. I needed more and more. I needed to consume more and more. So when I am physical, performing martial arts, or even teaching martial arts, it's a high for me. I greatly enjoy it. It's something that takes me to that, which we'll talk about here in a second, that present moment. Those are two really big ones. Film as well. I love film, whether it's watching an awesome action movie or even just like an indie rom-com or a drama. Like, I just love cinema, the art, the artistry of filmmaking, and I appreciate it. As a self-professed cinephile, somebody who loves cinema, I really enjoy it, and I really get a rush when I watch a movie, whether it's a movie that makes me cry, whether it's a movie that makes me laugh, whether it's a movie that makes me fulfilled with, whether it's a revenge tale and somebody, the bad guy gets his comeuppance, all of those feelings I love to feel inside of watching a movie. So that's why film is something that does it for me. Music, sex, I could go on and on about all these things, all the things that I enjoy, right? We all enjoy those things. That's what it means to be human, to feel those things. And is there anything wrong with that? No, right? Now I know certain religions, certain religious traditions may take umbrage with certain things, about getting high, about doing drugs and all that stuff, and I'm not, whatever. We'll talk about the getting high process in terms of when it can be detrimental. But to get high, there's nothing wrong with that. Unless, obviously, you're hurting yourself or somebody else, whatever. That's a different story. But to enjoy those things and fully be present with them, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong at all. So whether your thing is yoga, whether it's skydiving, whether it's sex, drugs, rock and roll, what have you, it all does it for someone. And speaking of talking about my dad on a previous episode, go back and check that one out, because my dad has struggled with addiction for many years, clean and sober and beautiful being now, but he struggled for many years. So this would be that's a good companion episode to this one, talking about, we talked about overcoming addiction and being attached to getting high, and now we're going to talk about the nature of getting high in this one. So yeah, check that episode out. So what all of those things, all those aforementioned things, what it does to us is it takes us here and now. It makes us here, it makes us present, it makes us now. And I've mentioned this before, this unitive consciousness, right? If you've ever had that feeling in your life where you feel one, you feel bliss, you feel complete, you feel whole, right? And that could be after those high experiences, whether it's an orgasm, whether you've experienced something just beautiful, brilliant, amazing, and you feel that thing that makes you here, that makes you now, that makes you present, that makes you feel like, you know, you're right? You're one with everything. Like when people say, you know, they see God, right, after that blissful experiences. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about something that takes you from an ordinary base level of consciousness and elevates it. And I'm all for elevated states of consciousness. I'm all for that. Okay? However, the issue with all highs is what? There's a low. There's a low. Right? Because when you go up, you must come down. And therein lies the problem. You know, we all know how to go up. We all know how to get high, right? So we don't really need, I don't need to talk, we don't need to talk about how to get high. Humans are experts. We're masters at getting high, right? We're all good at that. So we don't need to talk about that. We don't need to jam about that. We need to jam about, well, why do I come down? I don't want to get high when there's a low, right? That's the root of it. That's the root. That's what they talk about in Buddhism. The root of suffering is the clinging. The clinging to that high. I want to stay in that high. And that's why we try to extend it. That's why we look forward to things. That's why we look back on things, because we remember those experiences and those moments of getting high, of attaining bliss, of attaining unity, of being one with the universe. Like they talk about in Tantra, where you're lingam and yoni together, you're one, right? You're both the masculine and feminine energy, all of that unitive, complete, everything together. That's what we're talking about, is these blissful experiences. But again, the issue is, what happens when we come down, right? Yeah, that's a tough thing. You know, how do you enjoy the thing, enjoy the high, enjoy the experience, and then when it's done, you say, okay, that was cool. Awesome. On to something else, right? How do we do that? Tough thing. So a couple things that we can talk about is obviously not clinging, not holding on too much, not getting too, like they say, not getting too they. You ever notice that when people say they, like they say, well, who the fuck is they? I digress. Not getting too high in the highs, not getting too lows in the lows. Talk about the middle way. Well, there's truth to that. What that means is that you are not so caught up in your trip. You're not so caught up in the highs. If it comes along and it happens, stellar, great. And then when the lows come around, stellar, great. And I think that's where we can start to kind of unpeel this, is it's only when your downs are as high as your ups that you start to beat the game. You start to beat the system. Right? When you need your method to get you high, it will never be enough. Because remember, there's a refractory period. There's a period after the high. There's a period of low. That's the refractory period. How do we transcend that? How do you transcend the method? How do you get high without needing a method? Right? Tough thing. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on this, but this is from years of self-study, spiritual reflection. As you can see, like, this is something else. I didn't mention that, but how interesting is this? Like, this is something that gets me high. Learning about spirituality, about religion, about psychology, about life. That's something that I thoroughly enjoy. Hell, I have a damn podcast about wisdom, about talking about how to become wise and enjoy life and what is life, right? So yeah, I enjoy that. That's a method, but it's a method. And that's the thing, is we cling to methods. We cling to things. Think about this. Think about it, let's talk about a relationship. Falling in love, right? Does it get more high than that? You know, hopefully everyone that is listening to this, you've fallen in love before. And you felt that blissful union with another being, right? It's a beautiful thing. But the thing is, we get hooked on that. We get hooked on that. Because what another human being does to you is they turn on, they light the fire inside of you that is love. They turn you on to that, and it is a drug, it is a high. Loving something is the ultimate bliss. But what happens is we cling to the method. We cling, meaning that person gave me love. I want more of that. So we cling to that person. I've been just as guilty as anybody else of this. Where we cling to that person, we want that person to give us. I want to control them, right? I want to control them because without them, I may not be happy. Without them, I can't get high. They're my method. They're the thing that gets me high. So I need to control them. I want more of them. I want as much of them as I can so that I can feel fulfilled. I can have that wholeness. I can have that blissfulness. I can have that, unitive awareness, consciousness, what have you. Right? That elevated state of bliss. But when you do that, ultimately, remember, you're going to lose your method. It's not going to last forever. And not only that, but what happens when that person leaves you, or what happens when you fight, you break up, or what happens when there's the vicissitudes of life encroach on it, and there's the up and downs and everything. You can't get hooked on your method. And you could apply that love, being in a relationship. You can say that same thing about drugs. Say the same thing about sex. Say the same thing about making money. Whatever your method is, what they call upaya, whatever that method is to get you high, right? Insert it there and see how much you cling to it, how much you need it to make you feel alive. But here's the thing. If you need, we're going to get really meta here, so if you have questions, drop them in the comments, or go to caneactionteam@gmail.com. You can drop some questions there through our email. So if you need further elucidation, clarification for some of this material. But, I try to bring this shit to you as basic and, Reader's Digest version, as simple as possible, right? Because that's how we all learn. Give it to me the dumb version. I'll make sense of it. Not calling you guys dumb. I'm saying I am. But anyways, when you need your method to get you high, it will never be enough. It will never be enough. If you think it will be enough, it's never going to be enough. So that's the thing, is how do we, instead of get high, how do I become free? That's the golden ticket, so to speak. How do I become free? How do I just be? How do I be here now, in this eternal present, in this eternal moment? That's what everything leads to, doesn't it? All of those experiences, skydiving, sports, art, music, conversation, lovemaking, whatever, all of that leads to the present moment. It leads you to the now, to the here, to make you feel alive. It reduces the mind chatter in your brain and elevates the consciousness. All of that leads it, right, to that. And spiritual practices, spiritual study, hatha yoga, pranayama, prayer, meditation, all of that is a method. And again, there's nothing wrong with those methods. But if you cling to them, if you need them to get you high, it will never be enough to fulfill you, right? As long as you think that what you're looking for is outside of yourself, it will never be enough. Let me say that again. That was pretty good. As long as you think what you're looking for is outside of yourself, it will never be enough. Meaning, you can't get fulfillment from without. It comes from within. It comes from within. It comes from loving yourself, from understanding and grasping and being one with your humanity and your divinity, and understanding all of that. That, you know, you won't find fulfillment at the bottom of a bottle or in any experience. It's never enough. You guys feel what I'm saying? It's like you get a bite and you get another bite and you just keep wanting more and more bites, but your stomach is empty. Right? I believe in Buddhism they talk about like a giant ghost with a little tiny pinhole mouth, right? And he's got a giant stomach and giant appetite. And it just never fulfills, doesn't matter what the thing is, you could have more and more and more and more. Yeah, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 100 shots, yes. Let me drink and get as much as I fucking can. But it will never be enough. Because what you're doing is you're looking for something outside of yourself instead of reflecting that back inward and understanding, damn, I am enough. And you know what? This moment, this present moment, this eternal now, it is enough. It really is. And this moment includes everything. It includes every emotion. It includes the highs, the lows, and everything in between. It includes love, joy, sadness, pain, pleasure, suffering. That's what it's all about, right? That's what you need to do. And so I guess it's like, well, yeah, Matt, cool, easy, yeah, sure, dude, sure. I get it. It's not easy. I'm not just saying you flip a switch and go, I am whole, I am one, I am everything. It doesn't fucking work like that, because guess what? We're human beings with feelings, with emotions, with highs, with lows. But I think what is important, I guess a good first step for you would be self-reflection, to quiet your mind and to open the heart. I think that's where it starts. And cultivate a feeling of gratitude and thankfulness. So by quieting the mind, what you do, and whatever method you choose, whether it's meditation, prayer, focus, there are all kinds of different meditations where you stare at a candle flame for time on end, or you repeat a mantra, or you do something that I've been a big fan of, and kind of my method for meditation is just gentle, effortless meditation, where I just focus on my breath in and out. And what that does is that quiets down the chatter, and that gets you to that place, again, of being high. But it helps you, when you can quiet your mind, then you can open your heart better. And again, the heart mind is what we want. We want to have an intuitive heart mind that's feeling, that's as much a part of engaging and experiencing life as your mind is. And I think I've said this before on previous episodes, but the mind, the rational thinking mind, is a great servant but a horrible master, right? It can lead you astray in so many ways. The old saying, having a mind of its own. Well, your mind has a mind of its own. If you just sit there and close your eyes and try to not have any thoughts, good luck. You're going to have hundreds and hundreds of thoughts. So many thoughts are just going to come pouring in, right? And don't beat yourself up over having those thoughts. Like I said, your mind has a mind of its own. But when you do meditate and you just kind of focus and a thought pops up, you address it. You say, hey, hi thought, how you doing? Good to see you. Take care. Say hi to your aunt for me. And let it go, right? And then move on. Try to get back to the center. So I think that's a good first step. But it's self-reflection, and it's understanding gratitude, being thankful. Think about this. what are the odds? 1 in like 4 trillion that you would be born? It's like something absurd. Something absolutely absurd. So the fact we're sitting here, I'm drinking Dark Horse Cabernet out of my mug. The fact that I'm sitting here talking about this shit is a miracle in and of itself, if you think about it. And that's what's interesting, you know, people, you need to take pride in who you are and love who you are, because you are 1 in, right? Not even just 1 in almost 8 billion. You're 1 in, like, think about the odds for you to be alive. You're special, right? You're also nobody, but you're somebody. But that's for another podcast. So, yeah, that's kind of where it starts, is being grateful for what you have, everything that you have. And that'll help pull you into the present moment, right? Because when you have gratitude, you're not wanting or wishing for something, right? Think about people that you know that are just, like, when they get that new toy, that new thing, they think, yeah, that's gonna make me happy. Or you meet somebody and, you know, they think that getting in a relationship, it's like, oh, everything's great in my life. The only thing I'm missing is just my soulmate, right? Think about that. Think about those people that they feel like they're not enough. That they're not enough, what they have and who they are. But guess what? You are enough. You are where you're at right now. Yeah, you may wish you had, you know, more money. You may wish your nose was smaller. You may wish, you know, your body was in better shape. Bigger boobs. You wish you were skinny, fat, whatever, more muscular. You wish you had this car, this title, this status. You want all those things, but remember, all those things are just methods. They'll get you high, but they won't get you free. So what getting free means is you're free from the clinging of those attachments. You're free from those desires that push you and lead you, right? To me, that's kind of what that's been a big revelation for me in the last few years, is it's not so much about getting high. And again, I'm not saying don't get high. I'm not saying don't enjoy those things. Go for it. Absolutely love those things and live your life and experience those things with love, with joy, and with deep passion. Absolutely do that. But also, there should be an underlying, what's the word I'm looking for? There should be a fabric of emptiness that pervades all of that, right? Meaning, I'm not attached to all of this stuff. I love it, right? I love working out. I love doing martial arts. I love making movies. I love watching movies. I love music. I love all this stuff. I do. And I fully, when I'm experiencing it and I'm getting high, oh, yeah, baby. I love it. But when it's done, it's done. It's over. And I don't cling to it. And I know that I don't need that thing to get me high. Right? I'm getting high on my own supply. I'm getting high on life. That's what it's all about. Right? I remember hearing a story back when there was this huge influx of psychedelic drugs and mystical experiences in the late 60s, early 70s and all that shit in the US, in the West. I remember, Ram Dass talking about, he gave Maharaji, who was his guru, his teacher, gave him, some LSD, right? And, LSD is great for experiencing, again, it's a method to get you high, great for experiencing bliss, unity, elevated states of consciousness, the oneness, experiencing God. So he gave his teacher like a little bit and he popped it in and he's like, give me more. And he kept giving his teacher like I don't know the exact how many micrograms and shit of LSD, but like a shit ton, enough that he would just be tripping balls for days and days, right? And he's like, yeah, it's okay. Nothing really happened. But what he did tell him is that, those drugs, LSD, acid, all that shit, basically said, yeah, they're good. You can use them as methods. But he said it's like walking, it's like opening the door, sitting down and hanging out with God, and then you get up and leave. So he said, instead of that, how do you not only sit permanently with God, but become God? Right? And then he equated that to basically becoming free, having no attachments. That's what it's about, my friends. That's kind of how I view life. Life is a series of things, of experiences, to make me understand, to become free. Meaning, I want to use every single experience of my life as a reflection for me not to cling, right? So you think about this. You think about, you see something in your life that happens, some method that you love, that you get high, and just observe it and analyze it and understand that. But I think what the goal is not to have as many experiences as possible, as many rushes, as many highs. That's cool shit, that's great. But I think what's important is, how can we get free from all of those? How can I live completely in the world? What is the old saying? Live in the world but not be of the world. Live in the world completely, fully. Yeah, that's what they said in the Bible. Be in the world but not of the world. Live completely in that experience, but not clinging to it. Having an open hand towards life, but not a closed fist. That's becoming free. Is how can you enjoy these highs? Getting high, getting so high you just love it. It's so groovy, baby. But understanding that it's just a thing. That you don't need that thing ultimately to become free, right? You don't even need that thing to become high. You are high because you are here, you are now, you are present, and you're becoming free. That's ultimately, I think, what it's about. And I could be just sitting here talking nonsense and bullshit, and you guys are like, yeah, Matt, whatever. Just get high on your fucking wine and enjoy life. I get that, man. I get it. And I understand that we all have our own paths to walk in life. I'm just offering you some shit that I feel like is beneficial from the people in my life that I've told, and they've had these experiences, and from ancient wisdom and knowledge and spirituality, spiritual practices that have been passed around for generations, for thousands of years, for people to give meaning to life and for them to understand what it's all about, right? I take that and make it work for you, right? But again, understand it's just a method. All of this is just a method, but I think ultimately, like I said, it's about becoming free, not high. Can you enjoy the high and get high? Absolutely, do it. But don't look for it to give you something it can never give you. What was that quote earlier? What was it? As long as you think what you're looking for is outside yourself, you'll never find it. So realize it's right here. It's always been here. You've just been cut off to it. It's inside of you. Search within. Do some self-study. Do some research. Find some sacred texts, some spirituality, some spiritual practices, religion, whatever religion you're practicing currently. As long as it's feeding you, as long as it's getting you to that place, as long as you feel like it's making you free, cool, groovy. Go with it. Stay with it. But the second it's not working for your benefit, drop it. Move on. Here's a quote from Meister Eckhart, right? He said, whatever the way that leads you most frequently to awareness of God, follow that way. And if any other way appears different from the first, and you quit the first and take the second, and the second works, it's all right, baby. I added the baby. Any work may be of help, but if it does not, let it go. Right? Let it go. Like Elsa, let that shit go. That's it. That's it. That's getting high, baby. So, I guess, in summary, remember back in the day when you had to write papers in like high school and shit, and you had to put, the last paragraph was in conclusion, right? But yeah, in summary, it's about getting high. That's all life is. And you know what? Hey, Think of another quote. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And I can't argue that. But again, when I see people that are suicidal, that are depressed, that are, and I'm not a mental health therapist, psychologist, but when I see people that are experiencing those lows, those pains, inadequacy, anxiety, I gotta wonder, what it's stemming from. Is it stemming from we're born into a culture where we're told we gotta be somebody? We're already told we're inadequate, right? So we look for meaning, purpose, fulfillment, and all these things. Career, money, family, right? We look for fulfillment in all those things. But remember, it can get you high, but it can't get you free. It can never give you something that it can't, because all of those things, all highs have a low, have a down. And ultimately, I guess you got to decide what it is that makes you free and gets you free from all of the attachments and clingings. What's your method? What's your method to get you high? What's your method to get you free? And that's what it's all about, is becoming free from it and giving you meaning and fulfillment and purpose in life. And there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. When you feel in your life, you feel lightness, you feel sort of ease in your life. Doesn't mean you don't strive, you don't have goals, you don't have ambitions. It just means that you're not taking them as seriously, right? How can you rest in one? And we can get into duality and polarities and all that real quick. If a high and a low, that's a polarity, isn't it? That's a duality. Well, how do we just become one? Pretty much everything I was saying earlier, right? Becoming free. That's what we want. That's what it's all about. And again, using your life drama, all the drama of your life, like they say in Hinduism, that life is a drama, life is a play, it's a leela. Using all of that drama as your curriculum to get you to God, to get you free, to get you to that state of but without having to cling to that method to get you there. That's what it's about. How can we become free instead of high, but still enjoy the highs, but also enjoy the lows? Because guess what the lows do? The lows teach you more about life than anything. You think about all the times in your life where you were down, where you were suffering, like I talked about last episode, the lows. Think about how you grew as a being from there. That's why that's interesting. When your lows are as high as your ups, when your downs are as high as your ups, that's where we start to beat the system. That's where we go around the back and stab them in the back. We start winning. That's it. That's it, baby. Yeah. So getting high. Hopefully you guys got high. I got high. Shit. Now we need to work on becoming free. That's what it's all about. I appreciate all of y'all's. Thanks for your time. Hopefully if you made it to this, I didn't bore you to death. You weren't like, where am I? Oh shit, he's still talking. Right? Hopefully you enjoyed it and you gleaned a couple pearls of wisdom and you grew. That's what it's all about. I love this. If you felt like you got something out of this, much love. Let me know. Let me know. Drop a comment in the comments on YouTube or shoot us an email, caneactionteam@gmail.com. No, I don't have an email for the podcast. We'll get one eventually, whatever. All right? Cool. So without further ado, I guess go get high, baby. No, go get high, but also try to get free. We'll see you next time.